Thank you.
On behalf of our delegation, we thank you for inviting us to have this dialogue. I have not been here for a long time. I was here when we had a conference in Sharm el-Sheikh. This was some time ago. First of all, Misiri. Misiri in our language means many gardens. So whenever we read it, we say, oh, these are talking about gardens. If it's one garden, it is Musiri, Musiri. If there are many, Mi-Siri. This is our language. Uganda and the Great Lakes are linked to Egypt by the Nile from ancient time immemorial. Politically, we started getting close to Egypt after 1952, when Nasser took leadership in Egypt. Before that, we didn't have much political contact with Egypt. But Nasser was a Pan-Africanist, the Pan-Africanist orientation. So he worked with our leaders. He worked with Julius Nyerere, with Kwame Nkrumah, with Modibo Keita, with many, and Egypt under Nasser supported the anti-colonial movement in Southern Africa, including Uganda. Even the Uganda National Congress, one of our parties, had an office here in Cairo. There was an Egyptian minister, Mohammed Fayek, who was in charge of those efforts. Now, when we came into government, I started working with the leaders, Field Marshal Mubarak, Boutros Ghali, and we were discussing these issues. On the issue of the Nile, what I've discussed with His Excellency was that we should have, maybe the problem has been the approach. Because the approach from Egypt has been our historical rights. The agreements you had with the British, 19, that, 19. And then, so then the other people say, but how about us? How about us? But if we broaden the discussion, that's what I was advising His Excellency. And I'm glad he has listened, and I will talk to the others. I was saying the global needs of all the Nile countries are four: prosperity for all, number one. But within the prosperity, we need electricity for all. We need irrigation for all. And we need, of course, water for drinking. So if we put this in the documents, instead of the other approach of we and them, then we shall see for the most scientific ways of how this can be done. And from what I was discussing with some of the ministers, I think the problem is not as big as it looks. It could be the approach. It could be the approach. Now, the prosperity will also come from business. Egypt has got a big advantage. You are on the Mediterranean. And Uganda is linked with Egypt by the Nile. Now, people say Uganda is landlocked. But Uganda is not landlocked. At one time, I was saying that Uganda is Bashir-locked. Uganda is not landlocked. We have got a waterway to the Mediterranean. You can come by water and by rail from Uganda up to Alexandria, because there is the Nile. And Nile is navigable most of the way. During the time of the British, we would go by boat from Uganda to Alexandria. But the political problems in the Sudan are the ones which blocked the route. So we are not landlocked. We are at one time I was saying Bashir locked, but now I don't know who is blocking us. Burhan and Hemeti. If there was no political conflict in Sudan, we could have a water rail link from Uganda to Alexandria, because the Nile is navigable most of the way. So I'm very happy to discuss with His Excellency. I will also discuss with the other leaders about the Nile. But bilaterally, we have got a very good relationship with Egypt under His Excellency. They supported us with the foot and mouth disease vaccines for the cow, and His Excellency has agreed to build a factory in Uganda for foot and mouth vaccine. I'm very happy with that. But generally speaking, as I will emphasize at the business center, business is about two things: producing a good or a service and somebody buying it. If you get leaders who don't see that, who don't see how it produces goods and services and how to market them, you will never get prosperity, because there's no other way. If I buy what you produce, I support you. My pocket is supporting your prosperity. If you buy what I produce, you are supporting me. This is what the leaders need to understand in the whole of Africa. There is no other way we shall get prosperity without producing goods and services in the most economic way and selling them, and vice versa. So therefore, I'm glad that His Excellency is emphasizing business. Business. That means that we are going to look at how to invest together in production, but also market together between the two countries and within Africa, and also with the third countries. That's how we are going to get out of poverty. When there is a production of goods and services, and you sell, you create jobs, you employ people, you pay for electricity, you pay taxes. That's how prosperity comes. How will prosperity come if we are doing nothing? We are not trading. We are not producing, we are not trading. Where will prosperity come from? In the past, there has been a mistake of some of the African countries concentrating on trading with Europe and America. But the problem with that one is that, as you can see, it's risky, because they can change and say, block you. If they block you, then what do you do? That's why we say, but you have got your own market. Why don't you develop it? There are 100 million people in Egypt. I want them to buy my products. There are 50 million people in Uganda. There will be 100 million very soon, because the women are producing a lot of children. The population of Africa is very huge. The whole population of Africa now is 1.5 billion. We have surpassed China, we have surpassed India. And we shall be 2.5 billion in the next 30, 20, 25 years. So the potential is there. So I'm very glad that His Excellency, President Sisi, sees this business angle very, very clearly, from both the production side and the market consumption side. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm glad he invited us. We have had a very good dialogue, even on these problems of Libya, of Sudan, of Palestine. We have discussed all that. I thank you and wish you good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, within the framework of fostering regional integration and cooperation among Nile Basin states with a view of strengthening fraternity ties and boosting efforts of instilling stability, security and development among African brothers, the visit by His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni to Egypt comes to mark the reinforcement of the necessity of developing bilateral collaboration between the two states and to vest the entire available opportunities for the sake of furthering promotion of economic relationships and trade exchange in the interest of the two populations. Hence, we now witness signing a number of Memorandum of Understanding between the two states. London Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
مذكرة تفاهم بشأن دعم مكتب رئيس الوزراء الأوغندي منطقة لويرو في تعزيز سبل العيش من خلال المياه من أجل الإنتاج وتصنيع الفاكهة والمصري السيد علاء الدين فاروق وزير الزراعة واستصلاح
For the reinforcement of livelihoods from motive for production, food processing, and improvement of households' income for the interest of civil veterans between Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reclamation.
مذكرة تفاهم بشأن تعزيز العلاقات الاستثمارية الثنائية بين الهيئة العامة للاستثمار والمناطق الحرة